Hey everybody. So I'm back today I'm going to do sort of a new schedule for my videos. I've been having a little bit of trouble lately uploading as much as I used to, and I think part of it is the start of the school year with the kids. They're getting into all kinds of new activities and just trying to balance everything out. My filming time and sort of the editing time and that kind of stuff that goes into this, which isn't a tremendous amount, but I used to still try to maintain 2 videos a minimum of a week, and I notice I've been lapsing down to like 1 a week and just of work in progress stuff, which has been slow. Gonna try to upload at least twice a week, and I think I'm gonna start a series just called Heresy Hump Day, which is essentially gonna be Wednesday evening my time, which will probably be Thursday for the UK folks, but I'm going to be filming Wednesday mornings, which is what I'm doing today, and putting stuff up Wednesday evening every week. Just kind of a snapshot where I'm at. And then likely I'll be doing stuff on Friday. I typically do try to throw something up on Thursday or Friday, and then there'll be the sort of odd battle report and various other things that'll just come up in random times. But yeah, I'm gonna just start that series, not so much just to create some buzz or interest in a new series or anything like that, but just a way for me to organize my uploading. And so yeah, it's gonna be sort of like a work in progress Wednesday deal, and you might even end up just seeing another work in progress on Friday, just kind of what I did over a couple of days. So, without further ado, what am I up to? Some new stuff, some just getting prepared on other things. I have both historical and science fiction content today. I'm going to start real quick just by showing something new. It's that many of you have seen this before. I'm going to say a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I picked up this model and I just assembled it recently. This is the, I guess, well, I have the box here. It's a bloodthirster, right? I mean, but this is made by Ultra Ford. It's called a Greater War Demon, is the name of it. I believe it's just that their version, of a bloodthirster. I always really liked this miniature. Now, I don't play Chaos Demons for either Fantasy or 40K. I was planning on doing I am doing some Chaos Space Marines as a long-term project. And so this was meant to work with those Chaos Space Marines. I'll talk a little bit more in the Spooky Oktoberfest about this, because this is gonna be the main entry piece that I work on in October for Spooky Oktoberfest. We always try to do something sort of scary, spooky, something that fits along those lines for October Warbust Haze Challenge. I've got paint pots falling off of my stand. As I mentioned, Spooky Oktoberfest, that's kind of scary. Too bad I didn't get that on camera. Eerie. So, essentially, I just built this guy. It's a resin piece. I really like the resin, but one thing I noticed is that it was fairly pitted as far as like little micro holes. Now, I don't think it was supposed to be that way. And so what I ended up doing is, for most of them, I just used some liquid green stuff and just to sort of patch up some just little holes that were really small. They're not as big as those dots. They're just really hard to see in many cases, but I didn't want them to show up on the texture, and so I just sort of used some liquid green stuff. One of the things I really loved about this miniature was the face. I haven't really seen... This is a matter of my opinion, obviously, because there's been a number of demon models made by both Games Workshop and other companies. I've never quite seen a bloodthirster that quite captures the sinister look of this face. I don't think this is like the best bloodthirster miniature ever. I mean, like I really like it, and I was so happy once I saw it. I had to have it. It appears smaller than it really is because he's crouching down. I don't know if I guess I have a miniature here that's unrelated that I can just show in scale. But if you look at this guy, he's like crouching down on him. But and actually, if you look at it from here, the scale-wise, it's just really cool. Once I saw this miniature, I just had to have it. Now, part of that too, and I'm sorry I'm going to ramble a little bit, but for those of you that are 40K fans, I did I read a book called Talent of Horus, which I did a video review on a while ago. It's been a while. In that, there was this sort of sorcerer main character that was a summoner. And even though he wasn't like, you know, he didn't worship Khorne, the war god, for those of you that are not familiar, which this guy would definitely be part of in the game. As a summoner, you know, like they're basically the process of summoning in fantasy and in Warhammer 40k, it's not always that like you just summon this demon to help you that's your friend. Like, it's actually, even though they're both bad and even sometimes on the same side, it's a bit of a dominance subservience process where you're literally bringing this creature from what it's doing and forcing it to do your bidding. It's not really a relationship that's necessarily a healthy one. And in this book, despite the fact that it was a Tzeentch sorcerer, it was summoning like a bloodthirster to do its bidding. And the book was just such a great book, and the interaction even around that relationship and what was going on, I just really loved. And so when I saw this miniature, it just immediately just reminded me of the story that I was reading like recently or at that time, and I had to get it. So, Spooky Oktoberfest, that will be the main mini that I'm going to paint. But then alongside that, it'll be as many goblins as I can paint in October. So this is the finite project. I'll do an actual proper video during that time in October to launch it. But yeah, I'm actually really, really excited about this. I've wanted to paint it a long time, and having assembled it now and not just having it pieces in my box has made me really want to paint what I got and not what I want. Something I got a long time ago. So I'll just put that aside. I think I'm done now with the pilot. I have to get him onto his chair still. But I did some sculpting this morning. I'm going to just focus in a bit more. I put this sort of collar piece around the shoulder harness. So it kind of goes around his head there, like one of those pictures I put up in the first videos. I did my best to sculpt a cog on the front. That's actually quite difficult. I think it's very, very passable, like inside the, it's going to be inside there, you know. I mean, if I really zoomed in on it, like, there's definitely imperfections, but I'm imperfect right now as a sculptor, so there you go. Some little doodad detail piece up here that, like, they have on that sculpt too. I flattened out a bit more of the chest and put some detail on the chest, like for, I guess, commanding marks, you know, ribbons kind of thing on his chest. And I think I'm done. Honestly, it's going to take, it'll be interesting to see what he looks like when he's painted. I think that's always a bit of a test. But first miniature ever painted, or I should say sculpted, and it's a bit of a wild ride. I mean, to go from a piece of wire to this, and yeah, I'm like really pleased. I mean, it's not the greatest thing ever, but I did it, and like there is no other one like it, and I find it really cool, and I'm gonna really be happy to have this guy piloting my big robot that I'll be painting up soon to finish before year end, because this is for next New Year painting challenge. So that is that. I'm gonna pan to my other desk and show some historical stuff. So all I've done really, this is the project I'm working on now for painting. I'm just starting it this week, and I've put on the plaster and primed my black powder stuff, you know, for musket tomahawks primarily. And I've showed this stuff before. One thing that you might not have seen is, well, two things I was going to show. One, I had a little discussion with Robert Chisholm a while ago when I sculpted this guy's face, and I'm interested to paint him up, but one of the things we were both saying is it'll be interesting to see when we've got some paint on him, just to see how the face looks. Because when you have the green stuff, it's really shiny. You don't see all the imperfections and things always. Getting that first coat of primer on there, I'm actually pretty happy with that. The eyes are a little more googly than the guy that I just did. Like, I actually have more of a recessed eye on my Knight Titan. This guy is a bit more noticeable. Like, you can see his eyes even though they're not painted yet. So that might be interesting. I'm going to have to, you know, determine how I can make that work best. But for the face itself, you know, the hair and stuff, actually, now that he's actually primed, you know, I'm actually pretty happy with that. For those of you that are new to the channel, this is the first face I've ever sculpted. And the reason is it was completely damaged in the casting process. There was really no face, so I had to just sort of wear it down and do it myself. So I will be painting this guy up, this lone Marine, French Marine. And then I've got my Force that I've showed already. I'm not going to show him again. I've showed some close-ups and stuff. You'll see more when there's paint on him. Got my 2 British there. I'll be doing last. But the one big thing that I did do, no pun intended, the one big thing, is I got my limber assembled, put the plaster on it, and primed. And I'll be doing this as well. These accessory pieces, like those British and this limber, and even to some degree that Marine, I guess I'll do the Marine at the same time, but I'm going to do this stuff last after these. But I just wanted to get it ready because I'm going to do it. And I still have some artillery to do for the French. Just depending on how things go, I'll either paint this with those artillery or right after. I have a few of these bases kicking around, and they're a little small for what I was hoping for this. Like, the horses are kind of close together. There's a bit of space here on the front, but even the back, like, I have it kind of coming a little bit off, which might be okay because I'm going to, in some cases, maybe want to put a cannon hanging on the back. But yeah, I'm actually really happy about this because it's really hard. Like, in musket and tomahawks, it's really hard to get a cannon around without one of these. And I suppose that's a good thing because it's, if you're looking for a bit of realism, I mean, it was really hard to wheel quickly a cannon around. It just, a lot of it depends on, in the game, it depends on how many men you have on it, you know, to be able to move it. But if you have a limber, it works much faster. And so, yeah, whether I'll get another one of these right away or not, I don't know. I'm going to paint them up somewhat generic. This is just sort of like somebody local that's just helping out the group. And so whether it be for the French or for the British, this guy, it'll just be generic. I can use it for either side. And I think that's the way to go for now. But I'm kind of happy about that. So that's next up. It's going to be lots of historical painting. And then from there, you know, we'll be leading into the October, which will be truly an Orktober or Goblintober, because I'll be working on fantasy stuff after I'm done with all of this. Hoping I can get this done by October. That's going to be the main push. I should be able to. And then from there, it'll be just like doing that spooky Oktoberfest War Boss Tay thing, doing the goblins, and then got lots of other stuff coming after that. I just have so much stuff to do that I don't even know what I'm going to do next. I guess it just depends on my opinion or mood at the time. So, alright, hope everybody's having a good week, and here is the first Heresy Hump Day. Take care.